So, stereotypes of Jamaica. I'm going to ask a question to the audience. Does anyone know anything about Jamaica? Raise up hand if anyone knows anything. No one knows anything about Jamaica. So I'm teaching people new things about Jamaica. So anyone have heard anything about Jamaica?
Running fast.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yes, we do have the fastest runners in the world are from Jamaica for the last decade or so. So we do have very fast people. In fact, today in high school we have it's called the High School Championships. It's a very big thing in Jamaica with athletics running, and it's so big that it's not only shown in Jamaica, it's shown in like the US and the UK, and people from all over the world actually come to these events to see, like, to scout out the next Usain Bolt, I guess. But going into stereotypes. First stereotype. All Jamaicans smoke marijuana. Yeah, that's a stereotype that's popular outside of Jamaica, but only 10% of Jamaicans use marijuana. That's from 2009. In the US, interesting, in the US, 13% of the US citizens use marijuana. So if you go by that, that means Americans use marijuana more than Jamaicans. Second stereotype. Jamaicans do not speak English, or Jamaican English is not English. Now, the official language of Jamaica is English, and the Jamaican English is British English because we were once British colony before we became independent. Alright, so Jamaica has many different types of music, the most popular being mento, ska, rocksteady, and reggae. Reggae and dancehall are the two most popular music of Jamaica. We have dub music. Now, the elements in Jamaican music is from different parts of the world. For example, we have the African one-drop rhythm and the call and which is very common for reggae music, and the call and response style of singing. From Europe, we have, like, in our music, like waltz, quadrilles, and other figure dances and song styles. Like, it's mostly used in the folk songs of Jamaica, so the folk songs will sound very European. I think in Japanese are not so fond of spicy food. So, but if you go to restaurants in Jamaican restaurants in Japan, I think they would serve these, but they would serve it in a milder taste, so it won't be that spicy. Here in the center is ackee and saltfish. Now, remember I mentioned about Jamaica's national fruit. This is what it looks like when it's cooked, and we don't have any typical breakfast or typical dinner or typical lunch, but this is very common for breakfast. You can eat it with bananas or like pumpkin or yam or so on. Or
is it sweet?
It's actually salty because of the saltfish.
Okay.
The taste is not so strong. It has a very minute taste, so you mix it with the saltfish and so on, and you get this. Over here, this is actually a mixture of, like, it's mango chicken, so it's fruits mixed with the chicken and it's cooked. It's quite sweet and spicy. Here we have is oxtail, so it's from beef and cow and so on. And this, of course, you can see this is fish. This thing right here we call it bami. It's made from cassava. Does anyone know what's cassava? You may not know cassava. Cassava is a ground provision I think it's from Africa. And here we have curried mutton, which we usually make it either with sheep or goat meat. So you may think, oh, goat meat, yeah, sounds strange, but it actually is quite tasty. We also eat rice, like in Japan, but for our rice we actually cook. It's not just you put water and boil it, but our rice is cooked with peas and with coconut milk. So, and also with several spices. So our rice is very flavorful, and it's a mixture of sweet and a little bit salt and so on. So it's like sweet and salt. For our crops, we have also crops which are introduced to the island from tropical Southeast Asia. So if you go to Thailand, if you go to the Philippines, you find that the fruits and the crops there are very similar to what you find in Jamaica. It's a very similar condition. We're all both tropical. Those sports were originated in Britain, in England. So they're English sports. So countries like Australia, New Zealand, England, and so on, it's very popular. And then anyone else who's a part of the Commonwealth would play these sports. Netball is played mostly by women, but the two most popular and most fruitful sports are athletics, which is running. This is Usain Bolt. He's the fastest guy in the world currently, and this guy actually behind him is actually has the second fastest time in the world. So actually the first three fastest times in the world are from Jamaicans. Then we also very popular in football or soccer. So I'm not sure if anyone here knows the stereotype, but it's a stereotype that's popular and it's common in maybe in Europe or in the US. Jamaican men are womanizers. If anyone knows what womanizers mean, it basically means someone who take advantage of women or have many women, so on. But it's simply natural for Jamaican men to be polite to women. Now, it is a part of the culture and it's common in Latin regions. And women may sometimes misinterpret the social signals. So Jamaican men are very friendly towards women. If you go to Jamaica, they would be like talking to you as if they know you. The normal greeting would probably be to hug someone, or in some cases you would kiss on the cheek, which is common in Latin countries. In Japan it may not be so common. I actually, when I came to Japan, I made the mistake because I just came and I'm still just come from Jamaica, so I'm used to the greetings, and I was greeting a Japanese lady, and I went across and hugged her, and of course she was very she was so confused because but I didn't think of anything of it at the time. It was then later on, of course, I got accustomed to how the Japanese operate the culture and so on. Then I started to kind of tone back a bit. So for especially a conservative culture, it may seem very forward for Jamaican men may seem very forward or seem aggressive, but it's a very natural thing in Jamaica to be friendly with women.